The kids are back in school. Everybody's back at work. Dr. Phil's back for his 21st season premiere. And so is the beginning of our season 6 premiere. If you saw your intro, you know I'm going to be coming at you long and hard, with lots of issues and stories that you, the viewers, have grown accustomed to. So with that in mind, let's get started. 782 cases so far, over 90,000 deaths in the state. New Oasis County, over 108,000 new cases, with over 1,500 deaths. And since September 11th, in the 7-day average, that's 62. Hospitalizations since September 10th, since 2 days ago, 30,000 people have been hospitalized, and over 3,700 people have been in ICU. As for vaccinations, since the 7th, 75.5% of the population had at least one dose. That's 21.6 million fully vaccinated people, 18 million fully vaccinated. That's 62.9%. In the U.S., there has been over 600 million doses that have been given. Fully vaccinated, over 220, where 68.1% of the population has been fully vaccinated. That's the highest. Now, what about Flower Bluff ISD? How is it doing with its COVID-19? Well, like I said 2 years ago, last year, they started updating. They always update their spreadsheets. So, since the 12th, 1 from the high school for the student, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Highest one is from September 1st from the school, so that's 6, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. I think I'm realizing a pattern here. And the second, 1, 2, 2, 1, 0, 1, where we're witnessing patterns. Lots of patterns. Lots of patterns are going on throughout this time. And like I've been saying, like we've been talking about for 2 years, this is very serious. I mean, I take this virus very seriously. It's why I got masks, extra masks. I keep them in my back pocket. And I'm always prepared. Like if I'm sick or got COVID, I need to quarantine myself, period. There is no excuse. No excuses, period. And let me tell you, ever since stuff like this ever happens, since this first started, we've been going back to square one. I don't want. I mean, we look at cases like this. I mean, let's go back to August. Let's go back to August of this year. The highest one ever was 15 back in August. That was weeks ago. That's the highest one ever from 15 to high schoolers. That's a total of 78. That's the highest number ever. That's 78. The lowest one ever has to be from junior high staff and the ECC staff. That's the lowest. In July, nothing has been reported. Including cases. That's 11 cases closer to 500. The lowest one has to be from the junior high staff. The lowest has to be the transportation, because they know what they're doing. August, let's look at the totals. That's the total of over 1,900. That's the current enrollment and staff count. That's over 19,000 for the 1,900 for the high school. Sorry, over 1,900 current enrollment and staff members. Active cases are 15. That's 10 days and no symptoms students. That's 78. That's the highest number. 5 back in August. Lowest number is 4. And lowest one has got to be 35 from transportation. They know what they're doing. And I gotta tell you, we have to still take these extra precautions when it comes to people's safety and well-being. This is not going anywhere. This is something we have to live with until this all blows over. So in the meantime, what you need to do, I've been saying this for 2 years. You need to get yourself vaccinated. You need to wear your masks. You need a hand wash. You need to disinfect your area. If you are quarantined, you need to stay where you are for 5 days. After the 5th day, you tested again. You also need to be riding transportation. If you're riding transportation, do the same things. If your child's under 2, no masks. If it's against religion, don't get vaccinated. If you have a medical condition, don't wear your mask. And don't be vaccinated because if you have a medical condition, you're exempt. You're exempt from these things. And if you have questions about the vaccine side effects, look up them on the internet or ask your doctor. Prior knowledge, and you might as well be safe. So bottom line, for the first episode of the season 6 premiere, let's try to be safe and get back to regular things so that it doesn't happen again. Ever. Coming up next, a Give Me a Break investigation into hazing in all colleges. A look at articles, news footage, and especially from the Young Turks. A full half hour dedicated to hazing in colleges. What states make it legal and what states make it illegal. Also, the Young Turks are going to weigh into this with one case that I gotta warn you, it is very, very disturbing. I do not want young kids watching this. So if you go into college and join these sororities, it's a give me a break. It's a give me a break. Season 6, episode 1. You will not miss when we come back. Up front tonight, you send your kids to college so that they can live independently. But what if you realize that your kid has gone through a lot of hazing? What states make it legal? And what states make it illegal? Those questions, plus the news footage stories and from the Young Turks, launched a 1-week Give Me a Break investigation into college hazing. We looked at the Young Turks and started looking into articles that talk about this related issue and looked at hazing that is related to murder. So before you go to college, start doing your sororities and whatnot, and try to get into hazing, these are the stories and these are the stories that you don't want to miss. Like this one. 2 months ago, a college freshman almost dies after a hazing incident. Take a look at this.
Surveillance video of college freshmen pledging. Chilling surveillance video of college freshmen pledging a fraternity. They're being marched downstairs, blindfolded. It happened at the University of Missouri's Phi Gamma Delta fraternity house. And if you think this was a no big deal pledge night ritual, look what happened to Danny Santulli. That's Danny in the green blindfold. And this is Danny today, unable to walk, talk, or see.
I'm sad for him. Just what he went through that night, and he didn't deserve it.
The extraordinary video released to Inside Edition by the family's lawyer shows the tragic timeline. 9:55 p.m. You can see Danny inside the fraternity house carrying a bottle of vodka. His family says he was told to finish the bottle before the night was over. 10:22 p.m. Danny is still trying to finish off the bottle. A frat brother pours beer into Danny's mouth with a funnel. 10:55 p.m. Danny falls over. Some frat brothers carry him out of the room and drop him on a couch. 12:28 a.m. Danny slides off the couch head first. 12:43 a.m. After apparently checking for a pulse, the frat boys lift Danny off the couch and carry him out, but they accidentally drop him on his head. By the time they brought him to the hospital, it was too late. Danny wasn't breathing and his heart had stopped. His blood alcohol level was an extraordinary 6 times the legal limit. Doctors managed to revive him and placed him on a ventilator. I spoke to Danny's dad and sister. It's the nightmare call that no parent wants to get.
Oh my God, it's the worst thing you can ever hear. I mean, my wife was hyperventilating. The minute I saw him, it was like, wow. Tubes everywhere, the machines beeping every 2 seconds, and doctors, nurses running in and out.
Danny's older sister Meredith, also a student at University of Missouri, says it's frustrating to see some of the young men involved still on campus.
I am honestly disgusted that they are just allowed to wander the campus when they almost killed my brother.
Danny's family shared these touching home movies with us. That's how they want to remember him, rather than what's on that disturbing pledge night video.
This is without a doubt the worst fraternity hazing injury case that there's ever been in the United States. It couldn't be any worse and have someone still be alive.
2 members of the fraternity have been charged with felony hazing. The Phi Gamma Delta fraternity says Danny should not have been put in this situation. They add that they prohibit hazing and prohibit giving alcohol to minors. They also say that chapter is now closed.
And the chapter is now closed because of all this. So what states make it illegal for hazing? Well, according to Stewart, Tyman, Fox, Bonacci, and Kane, there are 13 states that make hazing a felony when resulting in a death and serious injury. You have Florida, California, Wisconsin, Indiana, Missouri. That is where that happened back in October 2021. Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Texas, Utah, Michigan, Illinois, West Virginia, and Louisiana. And 6 states have 0 laws prohibiting or defining hazing. Alaska, New Mexico, South Dakota, Hawaii, Wyoming, and Montana. If you go to college in any of these 5 states, you better not start hazing, start giving alcohol to these minors. I get that hazing is a prank here, but we're talking about the lives of these young kids who want to get into these good colleges and join a lot of other teams. Like, they want to fit in. But people say, it's just a prank. It may not be a prank. But let me tell you, it is seriously, I'm glad that these 13 states make it illegal. Andrew's Law, that happened back in 2019, it strengthens the Chad Meredith Act in multiple ways. That's including providing prosecution, providing immunity under the hazing statute, granting immunity only if the 911 call cooperates law enforcement, and provides prosecution for hazing that causes permanent damage. Their plan for haze includes information on the signs of alcohol poisoning, how hazing escalates over time, the red flags of hazing, which we'll talk about later, and the legal consequences of hazing nationwide. So this is an episode you do not want to miss, because this is about you guys, colleges and parents out there that send their kids to college. I'm coming at you with facts, information, and what you need to know the next time your child participates in these types of hazings. Call your friends, call your parents, get out a pen and paper, because this is school. These videos are the teaching tool, which brings us to our next story. When we come back, there was new video that happened 3 months ago. Wait a second, that was the only one. When we come back, the top 10 crazy college hazing stories that are just crazy and people think it's a prank. And a story from 5 years ago. One of the states that make it illegal, where Pennsylvania State hazing death video shows the pledge's final hours. So guess what? When we come back, more about this hazing, and later what parents need to know about this. You may be surprised. Stay with us. Get out your pen and paper. Do not go away. This is a teaching tool for you guys. A real serious teaching tool. Hear me. I'm your conscience. You need to hear me. We'll be right back. As we continue to start season 6 of the show, let's bring up today some stories that we are still following from last season. As you know, last season we covered Ethan Crumley and an incident that happened over at Oxford, Michigan. The trial for both the parents has been postponed, and their reasoning is they each face 4 counts of intent manslaughter, accused of committing gross negligence and allowing their son access to a 9mm handgun that investigators say he used for the shootings. If convicted, they could face up to 15 years in prison and face a fine of $700 on each count. Here's why it was postponed. They had an October 24 trial date before Judge Shell Matthews of Yelkin County Circuit Court, but that's no longer the case. The next scheduled court appearance is for October 28th. That is 4 days. That's a 4-day postpone. For the judge determining expert witnesses' testimony will be admissible during the trial. The new trial date is pending, but they still remain in jail. Now going back to Oxford, a social media message that threatened to come bring a gun to Oxford led to heightened police presence around Oxford. I bet that's the way ain't going anywhere anytime soon. Now, what about Uvalde? How's it doing? Well, if you remember what happened back in Uvalde, there is now another shooting that happened in the park. 4 suspects involved in the shooting at Uvalde Memorial Park as identified by police. Donovan Hill, Carlin Alexander Valdez, Brandon L. Alba, and a 16-year-old juvenile unnamed. So that's 3 out of 4. They're charged with engaging in organized criminal activity, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and endangering of a child. That's 9 counts for Donovan Hill. Hospitalized in San Antonio during injuries, will be serving an arrest warrant at the hospital released for his engaging in organized crime activity, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. And the 16-year-old juveniles were taken into custody for engaging in organized criminal activity and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. That's 9 counts. They'll be assisting, and the Texas Department of Public Safety is assisting Uvalde PD and the Sheriff's Office in the shooting investigation, which is ongoing. They'll bring you more updates as they come along, and we'll bring you more updates as this goes along. Now, 47 minutes ago, Cadence Five did an article on the Texas DBS where it says he wishes his agency had taken control over the police response to Uvalde's shooting. That's what the top law enforcement says. He told USA Today. His name? Steve McCraw. He told USA Today he wishes state troopers had seized control of the operation. Now remember, if you've been watching the past seasons, past episodes last season, we've given you exclusive information about what happened. We know it was Pete Arnano. He is now fired, and now they're moving forward to a plan so this doesn't happen again. '91 was state police. So we'll keep you up to date about this story and at Oxford as it goes along. When we come back, we're going to move back to the hazing investigation. And like I've said before the break and during this update, you need to get your pen and paper out. Get a pen and paper, get your friends, get your parents, get out a pen and paper. These videos I'm showing you are teaching tools. These are examples. Don't you go anywhere. Welcome back. If you're just joining us for the season 6 premiere of the show, we are doing a Give Me a Break investigation into college hazing, looking at stories and hearing from the victims of the people who have died from these hazings. 5 years ago, A Pennsylvania state hazing death video shows the pledge's final hours. This video is disturbing, so take a look.
Inquirer says surveillance video was shown in court of a Penn State frat party before a pledge died. Timothy Piazza died in February after a hazing ritual at the Beta Theta Pi house. 18 fraternity brothers are waiting to find out if they will stand trial. Defense attorneys will cross-examine witnesses at a later date. DeMarco Morgan is in Bellefonte, Pennsylvania. He was in the courtroom when the footage was shown publicly for the first time. DeMarco, good morning.
Good morning, Nora. Prosecutors played about 3 hours of video, and the scenes that were captured by the fraternity's own surveillance cameras were chilling. They not only show Timothy Piazza in hours of agony, but what prosecutors would describe as his would-be brother's callousness to his suffering. What was supposed to be Timothy Piazza's first night in this fraternity house as a Beta Theta Pi brother ended up being his last. 12 security cameras captured the Penn State sophomore slowly dying from his injuries to his head and spleen, sustained during a series of falls. Is it a bombshell?
It's a bombshell, yeah.
Prosecutor Stacey Parks Miller said an act of hazing left the 19-year-old with a blood alcohol content nearly 4 times the legal driving limit.
The video shows a barbaric death. A young man who was struggling, who was sick, who was ill, who was in pain.
Piazza fell down the basement stairs shortly before 11:30 p.m. Fraternity brothers found Piazza bruised and unconscious. Video shows him hitting him or pouring liquid on his face in an apparent effort to revive him. Others were seen propping Piazza up with a backpack or sitting on his legs.
The video speaks volumes in regard to my client's innocence.
Attorney William Brennan represents Joseph Ems, whom the grand jury said struck Piazza in the abdomen while he was unconscious.
The video I saw, fuzzy as it is, Joey may have reached down to arouse him, but he certainly didn't punch him. And it's
But does it concern you that Joey didn't call for help, didn't call
Well,
police?
he's not charged with that. It concerns me that no one called for help until 11 o'clock the next day.
Piazza was largely left alone during the early morning hours. In the footage, he staggers, collapses, and slams his head. At times, he writhes on the floor in obvious distress. He apparently fell down the basement stairs a second time. And by the time Piazza was found hours later, a detective who watched the video said he looked like a corpse. Piazza's family left the courtroom before the videos were played. Tom Klein is the family's attorney.
The videotape was simply stated too painful for the Piazzas to watch. They said that they just couldn't do it, at least not now.
Now, prosecutors obtained about 13 hours of security footage. The judge has yet to set a new hearing date, but the fraternity, which is also a defendant in the case, told CBS this morning it has confidence in the judicial system that due process and justice can and will be served. Back to you.
The question that continues to haunt is why?
That's why it's so hard to hear the more details you hear, because you keep learning that it really did not have to happen or go down this way. That's why it's so heartbreaking.
Thanks for that report, DeMarco.
Yeah.
It is very heartbreaking. So why colleges tolerate fraternities? That's a later question. But what I'm gonna play you guys is probably. I'm not gonna play you guys the top crazy college hazing stories. That is just too sickening and inappropriate for me. But here's a story but here's what the Young Turks said in their opinions about 5 years ago.
Those of you that are active, not to worry. The link buds
as they examine this deeper and deeper and deeper. We've actually used the example during the 5th season premiere when about zero tolerance. So let's take a look at this.
At Penn State is facing criminal charges after a hazing ritual led to the death of a sophomore at the university. Tim Piazza was the student who lost his life during this hazing incident. And now that we have more details that are, coming up during the court proceedings, we kind of get a sense of what this fraternity not only did, but also how they reacted when it was obvious that Piazza was in a lot of danger. Okay, so this all started in February, they get together for something that they refer to as the gauntlet. It was the final part, the final hazing before these pledges would be pledged into the fraternity. Piazza and 13 other pledges expected to participate in a hazing ritual known as the gauntlet. Pledges guzzled vodka, shotgun beer, drank from wine bags, and played multiple rounds of beer pong at a series of alcohol stations where they downed 4 to 5 drinks in 2-minute spans.
I hope
So obviously
you're
that's
taking
an
notes.
unsafe thing to do, but over drinking or binge drinking is something that's common among frats. It's just that in this case, it not only ended badly, they refused to get him any type of medical help when it was obvious that he was unconscious. He had fallen down a flight of stairs, and they still didn't call the authorities or call an ambulance. The situation just got worse after it was obvious that he was in a lot of trouble.
So, look, I went to college, and I have a lot of friends who were in fraternities. I wasn't in one. Let's leave out why. But, so I'm not a big fan of the hazing. That's, in essence, why. I think it's ridiculous to, like, that you humiliate someone.
Let's skip ahead to what happened. I'm going to mute it for you so I can read to you what the Philadelphia Inquirer said. 4 young men had dragged him from back up the stairs, stripped off his shirt, and placed him on a nearby couch with his head hanging low and his eyes closed. Piazza appeared unconscious, unmoving, and a limited bruise going on his side. A debate quickly broke out on what to do, and so we kept falling down. And here's another. 1 a.m. he was twitching and throwing up, concerned he might suffocate. 4 a.m, he tried to stand from his position, curled up on the fraternity house floor, only to fall face first on the hardwood floor. An hour later, he staggered to the lobby, stumbled, and hit his head on an iron railing before he could move. And finally, 10:40 in the morning on February 3rd, 11 hours into Piazza's first fall down the staircase, fraternity member Ryan McCain called for an ambulance. So it's like, should we call 911? No, let's just keep making him drink. Okay, call 911. Hello? Yeah, we've been hazing him. He needs medical attention. And then, what seems to be the issue here? He's dead. Okay. Okay, let's examine him. Yeah, you guys did him good. You all should be going to jail. Police, charge these people. And then the college just released all these articles. This is ridiculous. Very, very ridiculous. I don't tolerate hazing in these colleges. It is very unacceptable behavior coming from these people. So the question is, why colleges tolerate these fraternities? I want to show you a portion of from Vox when we come back. So you better be taking notes. So why do colleges tolerate these fraternities when laws in Texas and Pennsylvania prohibit this? It's against the law. Pisses me off to be talking about this on the season 6 of American Make Break. That's why it pisses me off to have you parents out there taking notes, which you better be doing. And if you have stories you like to share about your hazing, you better start telling me your story, because I'll tell your story on the next episode. So here's Vox tells to answer this question before we went on break. Why colleges tolerate fraternities?
Let's be honest. Aren't fraternities overrated? So let's take a look at the fraternities that really fit the word frats. We'll leave out the explicitly ethnic, religious, and academic fraternities, and we'll try to remember that every fraternity at every college is different. Still, you know the stereotype. It's the type of place that chants, nerds, nerds, nerds. Like a lot cooler than that.
Where are they? I think they're talking about us.
Even when we just look, at the goofy party side of frats, there are real negatives. Studies have shown that frats correlate with increased binge drinking and an average 0.25 drop in GPA. It's only once you look at the long history of fraternities that you understand why Greek life became a part of college life, and why it's unlikely to go away anytime soon. Here's Benjamin Franklin opening a Masonic lodge. Fraternal organizations in the United States, like the Freemasons, are actually key to understanding college fraternities. You know, that eye on his apron kind of looks like a mystical belly button. Early fraternity histories point to Phi Beta Kappa as the first fraternity, founded at William and Mary in Virginia. It was an honor society, and early fraternities were similarly academic. By 1825, 3 purely social fraternities at Union College in Schenectady formed. The college system had begun. The next year, a man named William Morgan was murdered. Morgan died mysteriously after threatening to expose Masonic secrets. This led to an entire political party, the Anti-Masonic Party, revolting against the Masons in America. It's less about the mysterious murder than the climate. Secret societies were a big deal, and people were kind of afraid of them. That included adult fraternities like the Masons, but also secret societies in colleges. Colleges preferred open celebrations of school, like this bucolic, only slightly violent, class day from the 1850s. This 1900s issue of a Sigma Nu journal shows consequences of anti-fraternity sentiment, laws that banned fraternities or forced them to operate in secret. Even successful fraternities had to find strategies to fight this. Delta Upsilon started as an anti-secret fraternity, a frat without secret rituals, for this reason. It seemed like frats were on the way out. So what changed? This chart and this flagpole are equally important to understand how frats took over schools. Look at that jump from 63,000 students in 1870 to 600,000 in 1920. It's massive. This jump in enrollment created a lot of problems, and fraternities helped colleges solve them. Like that kid on the flagpole. College flag rush, where freshmen and sophomores battled over a flag, was popular for everybody, not just frat kids. Look at those ripped clothes. Students were injured and even killed during the scramble. The point is, college students are idiotic, full stop, and colleges started to see Greek life as a tool to maintain order. First, fraternities provided housing for that rapidly swelling student population. Fraternities also provided infrastructure for disciplining a horde of students.
Well.
You see scenes like these and wonder why deans keep fraternities around. But the administration actually brought them back. As former frat members aged into leadership roles, they realized that fraternities gave them somebody to yell at.
Greg, what is the worst fraternity on this campus?
Fraternities are distributed discipline. Deans could yell at Greek leaders, who could yell at upperclassmen, who could yell at underclassmen, instead of having to discipline that giant section of the bar chart all by themselves. And the big reason for keeping frats around? Administrators realized that frats led to money after college. Alumni donations from fraternity and sorority members are higher than from other students. Students loved the university through their fraternities, and the university had a lot of reasons to stay chained to them. That same paper that showed that fraternities increase binge drinking, it also showed that they increase alumni income because of the networking opportunities. That's without even mentioning the lifelong friendships that Greek members form. But the downsides of fraternities can be a lot worse than what we see in the movies. It's easy to marvel at 100-year-old hazing, but as Caitlin Flanagan wrote in The Atlantic, all that binge drinking and hazing can have life-threatening consequences. She notes disproportionate injuries in fraternity housing, high alcohol use, and alleged sexual assault, along with a lasting legacy of racial discrimination. Whether fraternities are overrated depends how you view them and how you view college students. We're all asking the same questions as those administrators in the 1800s, and we have to figure out if their solutions are still the right ones today. How you view students, and maybe even all people, changes your answer. Do frats help control the problems in college life? Or do they create them?
Well, we're now out of time, but I'm going to leave this discussion off for next Monday or tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to share your stories of your time as a college, about the time you were being hazed at college. So if you want to share your story, you can type in your story, and I'll put it on the next episode or next Monday. But if I don't do it, tomorrow, we'll do it next Monday. But if I don't do it tomorrow, Wednesday, it's all about kids and guns. Kids bringing guns to school and then getting arrested. What can be done to stop this? Then on Friday, pornography in our schools. Then on Saturday, students disrespecting their teachers. It's a premiere week you don't want to miss. That's all for this edition of Give Me a Break Monday. We'll see you again tomorrow morning or Wednesday. So again, we will see you tomorrow morning for part 2 of the college hazing, or we'll switch it. We'll do it again next month. We'll do it next Monday. Thanks for watching the season 6 premiere, and hope in the future we can we'll do it outdoors so that people can share their stories. Good night, everyone.